All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into an NBA Cup quarterfinal upset that, believe me, has everyone talking. Let's break down exactly how this went down.
So, the final score? 132 to 119. I mean, yeah, that looks like a blowout on paper, but trust me, that final score doesn't even begin to tell the real story of how this all happened.
And that's the million-dollar question, right? The Spurs were without their superstar rookie, Victor Wembanyama. He was out with a calf strain. So how in the world did they manage to not just beat but dominate a powerhouse like the Lakers?
Look, this wasn't just another win on the schedule. No way. This was a statement. By taking down the Lakers, the Spurs have officially punched their ticket to the NBA Cup semifinals out in Vegas.
So, with their main guy on the sidelines, who stepped up? Guard Stephon Castle. That's who. The man was just electric. He dropped an incredible 30-point double-double, and get this, he was one of 7 different Spurs players to hit double figures. That's teamwork.
Right from the opening tip, you could see this was going to be a chess match. It was a fascinating clash of styles with 2 totally different game plans going head-to-head.
Okay, so for the Lakers, the plan was pretty simple. Wembanyama and his massive shot-blocking presence, not in the game. So what do? You attack the basket. You go straight at the paint, over and over again.
Now the Spurs, they're not dumb. They knew they couldn't go toe-to-toe with the Lakers' size, so they didn't even try. Their counterpunch wasn't muscle, it was speed. They wanted to turn this thing into a track meet, a fast-paced, high-energy transition game.
And that's really the heart of the story right there. You've got the Lakers' power game just trying to bully their way to the basket versus the Spurs' high-octane, speed-first attack. 2 totally different philosophies.
And for a few minutes there, it really looked like the Lakers' plan was gonna work perfectly. They jumped out to an early lead, and almost all their points, 12 of their first 15 in fact, came right from the paint. Honestly, it was looking like a long night for San Antonio.
But then, the Spurs made an adjustment. And just like that, the entire feel of the game, the momentum, it all started to shift, and shift dramatically.
After that slow start, the Spurs just exploded. They dropped 39 points in the first quarter to snatch the lead. And as you can see from the quarter-by-quarter breakdown, once they got that lead, they never, ever looked back.
So what was the turning point? Well, you can really point to the second quarter. The Lakers started getting frustrated, complaining to the refs, and you could just see them lose focus. The Spurs smelled blood in the water, and they pounced.
They basically used that distraction to crank up the speed even more. You had their guards, with Castle leading the charge, just flying in transition. They were attacking the rim, drawing fouls, and kicking it out for wide-open threes. This whole offensive storm built them an 18-point lead, and it helped that they were shooting a blistering 50% from 3 in the first half.
Of course, even when the Lakers are having a rough night, you know LeBron James is going to do something spectacular, and he did not disappoint. He absolutely posterized Spurs center Luke Kornet with this thunderous dunk. I mean, that moment alone got the whole crowd on its feet.
Now, even though the Spurs were in the driver's seat for most of the game, the Lakers did not go quietly. They went on this furious 11-0 run late in the fourth, and suddenly the lead was down to just 8 points. For a minute there, things got very interesting.
So let's dig into the numbers, because this is where you can really see how the Spurs game plan just worked to perfection.
This right here tells you so much. Fast break points, 27 for the Spurs, only 15 for the Lakers. The Spurs wanted to turn this into a track meet, and while the proof is right there, they got exactly what they wanted.
And it wasn't just the starters. The Spurs' depth was a huge deal. Their bench just destroyed the Lakers' bench 42-16. Think about that. Keldon Johnson came in and scored 13 points in just over 5 minutes in the first quarter. That's an insane spark off the bench.
But if you ask me, this might be the most brutal stat of the entire game. Points off turnovers. The Spurs turned every Laker mistake into points, scoring 16. The Lakers, they only managed 2. That is just punishing efficiency.
And remember that whole attack the rim strategy? Well, it paid off big time at the free throw line. San Antonio shot 32 free throws. The Lakers, only 16, exactly half. That is how you fight a physical battle when you don't have the size advantage.
Okay, so what does a win like this actually mean for the rest of the tournament? Where do the Spurs and the Lakers go from here?
Well, for San Antonio, it means they've booked their trip to Vegas for a massive semifinal game. And their opponent? The Oklahoma City Thunder.
a team with a frankly ridiculous 24-1 record. So yeah, a true test is definitely waiting for them.
And all of this leaves us with one last big, juicy question for the rest of the NBA. If the Spurs can look this good and dominate a team like the Lakers without their superstar rookie, what in the world are they going to look like when he gets back? Could they be the new team to beat?